All right, pilot episode. Welcome to Inspire the Youth. My name is Terrell Barnes,
Here you got Julius Bourne right here.
and we're your hosts, man. We're your hosts. It's been a long time coming. We've been talking about doing this for some years now, man. And I think that now's the time. We've been probably putting it off a little bit longer than we should have. People always make excuses on why they shouldn't do something, but it's time, man. It's time to stop putting it off and to jump out there and get the conversation going, right? So
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely.
so yeah, just background information on why we want to do this and what we currently do. You know what I'm saying? Just to give y'all some information. I sell cars in the DMV area. That's what I do for my day job. I see a lot of credit. I see a lot of credit issues, especially in our community. um, and it inspires me to kind of spread information on how we can fix that problem because I think credit is important. You know what I'm saying? Credit can get you in doors that money can't. And we all need to have our credit right, man, because it stops you from doing certain things in life. And it makes you it slows you down, it makes you stagnant. It can really mess you up for the long term if your credit is not together. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this. Another reason too, when we was coming up, like when we was, what I'm saying, because a lot of people, if you don't know, we known each other for over 20 years. So we went to school together. We ain't had these resources. Nobody told us about finances and about entrepreneurship. So these are tools that we want to give the youth. We want to make sure our kids and the generation that's coming after us have these tools so that later on in life they're prepared. You know what I'm saying? When they get out of college or when they get into the real world, they get into the workforce, they already got their stuff, situated. You know what I'm saying? They got their credit right. So we want to give back to the youth, and this is one of the ways that we plan on doing this. Um, so I don't want to ramble, but you go ahead.
Nah, man. It's definitely been a long time in the making. It's definitely something that we had to really, you know what I'm saying, a lot of discourse about. Um, just more so the fact, from my perspective, is just more so the fact that like we talk about a lot of things that we
Mhm.
wish we would have known, prior to where we are now in life.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of, like you said, a lot of the information that we didn't have, but just a lot of the information that our parents and our grandparents didn't know nothing about. And so they
nope.
wasn't even able to pass or push that information towards us. They gave us the best, really honestly, that they could do based on the information that they had.
Yeah,
And so now it's like, okay, well, let's try to, let's do whatever we can do to try to get that information out to people who may not know, or just to the people around us, you know what I'm saying? Our media circle, our community, you know what I'm saying? Like we always trying to figure out how to apply this information, new information that comes about, how we can spread it. So it's like, all right, well, a podcast or a platform makes perfect sense to try to just get it out there as much as possible to see if everybody has a due diligence. I feel like to be a somebody who gives to their community, somebody who does better for the people that's coming behind them. We all have
absolutely,
a due diligence, I feel like. So yeah, this is it's about time, man, for sure.
absolutely. Um, so this first episode, this called Close the Wealth Gap. You hear us talk about this all the time. Um, so it's only right that this be the pilot episode. So we get into the mission statement first.
All right, bet. Inspire the Youth is a podcast dedicated to empowering the next generation through financial literacy, wealth building, and entrepreneurship. We create a space to learn, exchange ideas, and push conversations forward, equipping young people with the knowledge and mindset needed for lasting success.
Absolutely. And just a disclosure, this information on this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. We are not financial advisors, and nothing discussed should be taken as financial advice. As always, do your own research and consult with a professional before making any financial decisions. Invest wisely and use your best judgment. All right, man.
Mhm.
Let's get into it. Close the wealth gap, right? So, we we got a major problem. We got a major problem. Obviously, discussing the wealth gap is a deep rooted issue, and it's not something that we could kind of unpack in one episode. So this gonna be an ongoing conversation, but it's a conversation that obviously we got to have it. So we're gonna get right into it. Um, Pew Resource PewResearch.org, right? So I'm gonna give y'all some stats, right? So average household income, right? Average white household income, right? Combined, $250,400. $250,400. Average Asian household income, $320,900. Right? Multiracial, average $82,500. Hispanic, $48,700. The average household income for Black people is $27,100. Think about that.
Just the numbers alone, I think have to make you feel a certain type of way. Like, just to put that in perspective, 27 that like if you at a job right now making 27,000, you need food stamps, you need Medicaid or some sort of free or discounted medical, and it's still going to be a stretch even if you have those two things.
Right.
Even if they're helping you pay for your food and they're helping you with your health care, you still are going to be more so more than check to check. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's kind of day to day at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Twenty
you in
seven
survival
thousand.
mode.
We
Straight
said
survival mode, right? Survival mode.
straight survival mode, man. 27,000 is not enough money to get every it expenses. Whether you live in an apartment or a house, it doesn't make a difference. You know what I'm saying? Whether you rent or you on mortgage, $27,000 on average is not enough to survive in America in 2025 in the current conditions that we have. It's just not enough money. And I think anybody who works a job actually can realize that.
For sure. Um, I read that and this is coming from the census website. For every dollar that a household has, a Black household has 13 cents.
That's crazy.
Bro, like
that's that's insane. It's almost kind of like unbelievable to hear. Like, even when you hear it, like, yeah, nah, that don't even seem like it's possible. But really, this is real. These are real numbers. This is real information. Like, that is crazy for real.
it is, and there's so many things that create more problems for us, right? So Black household on average have more unsecured debt than any other household, right? It makes sense because they have the least money, right? That's one thing that could contribute to having more unsecured debt, right?
Right.
Also, we have a higher rate of student loan debt. We have to borrow more money for school to get an education than any other race out there, right? So we have more student loans that we have to pay, which just puts you in more debt and more puts you more behind once you get out of school. You got to pay that back, right? You're not
Ain't no
saving
doubt
that
about
money,
it.
right? So, and then on top of that, we have historically more medical issues. So we're gonna have more medical debt because of that. And there's many contributing factors to having medical issues. We probably be here all day just touching that topic alone. So so we know offhand, okay, we make the least amount of money as a whole. But what makes it even more interesting though, we hold 1.4 trillion dollars in spending power. So we make the least, but we spend the second most out of any race in the country. How
That's insane.
how does that make sense?
Um, I mean, well, to me, it kind of does make sense when you really think about it because if you don't own anything, if you can't, like, we don't have the option to put together money for for the things that we need constantly. We constantly have to just think about it like this, right? So I'm pretty sure the average white household or just the average people with a decent sized income, they probably grocery shop once a week at the most, probably, right? But
Yeah,
when you day to day, you have to spend this money every day to get
yeah,
through the days. A lot of times we trying to figure things out from day to day. It's a day to day process. We don't have anything to pull from to stretch out the spending that we do on a consistent basis. Now, if we just being honest, we also have a lot of, a lot of habits, a lot of spending habits that's probably not good, right? But that's
right,
also because when it comes to just financial education, knowing what to do, knowing what not to do, knowing what mistakes, what I'm saying, know what mistakes to avoid, what not to, what I'm saying, what to get into, what to not get into. Like we also are lacking in that the most. So you don't have the resources and you don't have the information. So
hmm
when we get our check, hey man, we know what time it is. We got so much gas to be spent that you probably going to have to borrow a lot of times before you get to the next check. Like
yep,
that's a real thing. It's a real process. I've been through it a lot of my, a good portion of my adulthood, honestly. So
absolutely.
it's like, man, it doesn't make sense, but it does make sense when you thinking about it from those terms. Like, we have the least and we do the most. So yeah, it doesn't. It's a bad thing, but I can definitely understand how the numbers look, how they look
Yeah, so we have a consumerism issue, right?
for sure.
Right. So just by not consuming as much, that's just one way off the top that we can help close the wealth gap. Okay? Because we know we as a whole we don't have the resources. So instead of consuming and just giving all our money out, we have to find a way, not find a way. We have to make a way to invest that money, invest some of that money. We spend money, we spend a lot of money, but most of the time just keep it real, we're not investing money. We're not getting a paycheck and investing it in anything. We either catching up on bills, you know what I'm saying, or we blowing the money on something that we don't even need to satisfy whatever it is that we're trying to satisfy at the time.
No, those are facts, man. We definitely have a spending problem, and like I said, you know what I'm saying. When it comes down to what we do, just the information about what you probably should do when you finally get your hands on your paycheck, what you should actually spend the money on. Most people probably don't have a budget, don't think about a budget, don't even feel like a budget is feasible for what they really got going on. And then so it takes a certain amount of information to be like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna sacrifice
Yeah.
to put this to the side for to try to change things later on down the road, or just so I could have a safety net. So I can have these things put to the side. I can have these things in case of emergency. I can have these things to put towards my future, as opposed to just spending it all. And then by the time the next check roll around, you need that next check to hit, and so you're playing catch up essentially.
And it never stops. It's just an ongoing cycle. And for some people, that should go on their entire lives.
Yeah, ain't no doubt about it, man. Look, I see it every day. You know what I'm saying? I go to work. I'm a insulator by trade, so I'm in a shipyard and I'm working, and I see people that like every week. They, you know what I'm saying, before that Thursday hit, oh, Wednesday is tight
Mm-hmm.
every week. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a abnormal thing. Like this is something I see all the time. I've been through it. You've been through it. We all been through it. But like a lot of people don't never get the education or never get a foundation to really get out of that. They don't come up with a plan to get out of that. So if you don't come up with a plan, if you don't decide or to do something different, yeah, you gonna be stuck like that.
Right. You know what I mean? So we gotta learn to make a short-term sacrifice to reach our long-term goals. Because if not, we're gonna keep staying in the same cycle, repeating it over and over again.
Definitely, definitely.
When even if you somebody that when you get paid, you pay all your bills and you got money left over and surplus. What did they teach us when we had money left over? You know what I'm saying? Save your money. Put it put it in the bank and save it.
Put it in the bank,
Okay.
yeah, put it in the bank.
Okay.
Or you know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Like some of us that don't trust banks, we take it, keep it in a shoebox.
Right, right.
You know what I'm
And
saying? Keep it in the crib, keep it in the sock drawer
and it ain't
type
no
time.
it ain't no knock on saving money. Everybody should save money. But some if you got money to save, you got money to invest, right? To make that money work for you. So if you somebody
Absolutely.
that's just sitting on a bunch of money in your bank account and it's not a high yielding account, it doesn't grow you anything substantial. You need to be investing a portion of that instead of just saving the money because it's not helping you. It's
No, you
simply
lose.
doing
You ain't saving. If your money ain't making money, then it's losing money. You know what I'm
absolute.
saying? Money depreciate, losing value. You know what I'm saying? But that's just something that, like I said, man, we don't really understand that a lot of times. Like, ain't nobody never told us that. Like, this is something that information that we got from just having access to the internet now, having access to people who are smarter than us, who've been talking about these things and putting this game out there for a while. But everybody ain't on that. A lot of us don't use the internet in that type of fashion to get that type of information. A lot of us use the internet and social media for something completely different, other than something that you might could apply to your life to make it better. We using it for, mainly for entertainment purposes, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and really, that's just a distraction. Uh, that's just a distraction from what we need to be doing. Everybody loves to get on social media and laugh and look at funny videos and memes and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's not saying you shouldn't have fun with it, but it got to be some type of balance. If you're giving all your time to something and you're not getting nothing out of it, you know what I'm saying? But some entertainment, I think it's defeating the purpose. It's way too much free knowledge out there that can actually help you, and I think that a lot of times we don't take advantage of that. And black people, we're not at the in a point right now to whereas we cannot afford to take advantage of any opportunity to grow financially. You know what I'm saying? Like it you do you think the wealth gap is growing right now, or is it getting worse?
Man, you would think, I honestly, you would think it was getting closer. Like you would
Yeah,
think
yeah,
we
that's
would
what
be
I mean. Yeah,
making more because
yeah,
the time is evolving with salaries is like, you make more now than you did 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? You would think, we have more opportunities probably now so than 20, 30 years ago. But I'm pretty much certain that the wealth gap is growing. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? I I hope you got some numbers on that because like I'm pretty sure it's growing.
Yeah, the census they haven't released any recent information from the end of 2024, except the fact that uh black salaries are black salaries are growing. We're making more money, so that's accurate. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But as far as the wealth gap growing, I don't think that's the case. There's a lot of wealth from white people that's being handed down to the next generation. You know what I'm saying? I think the next 15 to 20 years, we're going to see the largest transformation of wealth in American history.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I heard that. I heard that stat.
Yeah. So once once these billionaires start handing this wealth down, what I'm saying, to to their family members and what have you, it's just gonna increase them and widen the wealth gap even more. So I really think that it's just getting worse for us as a whole, and it's really a problem, and I think all of us need to focus on it. You know what I'm saying? What are some ways you think that we talk about consumerism, kind of cutting down on that, but other than that, like how can we tighten it up? Like how can we help close the wealth gap? If you think we can close it at all?
I don't want to be negative, so I'm not gonna be the one that's negative and be like, yeah, nah, it's over, it's a done deal. Like I'm not, I ain't gonna be that guy,
Mm-hmm.
right? But realistically, in my estimation, this ain't based on no numbers, because you know what I'm saying. Like I'm not no financial advisor or nothing like that. This ain't based on no really relevant information.
Right.
But I feel like for us being where we are and how big the gap is, I feel like if we don't figure out a way to pool our resources together, I don't see how over the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years that the wealth gap would get any closer.
Yeah. Yeah. And what you mean by pool our resources?
What I mean by that is that, okay, so you said the average annual income for a black household is 27,000, right?
Right. Yeah.
So if we're starting from a base of 27,000 average, the average person who's making 27, the average household that's making 27,000 has very few dollars to invest.
Right. I
The
agree.
average black household is gonna have very few dollars to invest. And so how do we individually grow as grow the community or grow as a whole when we all are so far behind? I don't see how the numbers, just to me, don't make sense. Like
Mm-hmm.
the average person being able to contribute a few dollars here, a few dollars there. You got a lot of people who can't contribute it at all. It's like I don't see how, unless we start to come together and pool these things, I don't see really how we're gonna grow it to the or get to a point where we're starting to make more progress. Just because we're doing so poorly individually.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely discouraging, especially if you closer to that $27,000 salary mark. It probably almost seems impossible. But that's where we go back to talking about credit. You know what I mean? If you have your credit where it needs to be, you can get into real estate. You know what I'm saying? You can get a home loan. You can purchase a piece of property, in an area where the property value is continuously growing and the area is growing, that can help you grow your wealth. You know what I'm saying? You can leverage credit to help you monetize your situation. And it honestly it's easier said than done, because obviously to have good credit, you have to pay your bills on time. And in order to pay your bills on time, you got to have the money to pay it. And it's difficult to have the money to pay it when you only making a certain amount of money. So that's where we go back to being able to live below our means, not being such big consumers and not giving all our money out, because essentially at the end of the day we cannot afford to do it, because if we continuously be some of the biggest consumers in the country, we'll continuously put ourselves in bad financial situations, which will negatively affect our credit because we won't be able to pay our bills on time, and that will negatively affect us being able to monetize our credit and make money off of our credit. It's so many different ways. If your credit is good, you can go out here and you can get a credit limit of $25,000, $30,000, and you can use that to invest in any type of entrepreneur venture that you want. But you got to be in that situation to be able to do that, and most people are not. A lot of black people don't even have life insurance. You know what I'm saying? That's a way right there that you can pass on wealth after you pass away. That's the
Definitely.
that's one of the easiest ways that you can pass wealth to the next generation. But most people don't have life insurance. You know what I'm saying? When my dad passed away, he ain't had no life insurance policy.
Yeah, mine
You know what
either.
I'm saying? Like that's a problem. Everybody got to have life insurance. You know what I'm saying? And it's just another problem that we have in our community.
Yeah, yeah, that's true, man. It definitely like, and that's one thing. That's another reason why it was like I feel like we should really start just as people, as black people, really putting our money together because, like, you know, there's no reason why if we have if Big Mama got a house, Grandma got a house, right?
Yeah,
There's no reason why at the end of the day or when she transitions, there's no reason why we have not as a family made sure that that house stays in the family. Regardless of what her financial affairs was, there's no reason why we lose that asset if we don't have to. You know what I'm saying? If you look at other races, a lot of times it's a bunch of families, it's families combined together. It's family, it's multiple families in a household. We used to do that too, but it was short lived because somebody done lost something.
mhm,
Somebody done got kicked out. Somebody done got evicted. Oh no, we got to move back to Graham's house for a little bit till we bounce back and get on our feet.
yeah,
So that's one of the reasons why it's like, okay, man, if we all like, if it's we have a whole, if you got a whole family, it's no reason why you should be losing an asset as important as a house, unless y'all decided that the house wasn't worth it, or it's just not it's not financially feasible or reasonable to do it. But at the end of the day, I'll use myself, my family for an example. We are going to lose a property that my granddad worked hard and did a lot to do, a lot to keep. But because we didn't, because we so individual based, we like no, it was no plan in place with her children to pull that to look. Everybody just put their money here to make sure we get to keep this. This is
yeah,
like a base. Once you lose that base, it's tough to keep the family straight.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That and there ends up being a issue amongst family members. They end up fighting and stuff like that, and it just
Off top.
causes bigger problems. When really, if you got an asset, it's really supposed to bring everybody together. So you know what I mean. You get a certain amount of family members that's interested in helping keep the property up. You know what I'm saying, and you invest in it. And anything that needs to be done to the house, you get it done, and you just put money into it, and then you can use it, you know what I'm saying, as an asset and rent it out, whatever you want to do. But you keep that in the family, and you keep the income. You make money off of that property. You know what I'm saying? Unless the family can't maintain the home, then you sell it. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to let the home just go by the wayside and not be kept up and maintained. But if you actually able to maintain it, that should be an asset that can continue to help. That should be a springboard into real estate, really, if you're really thinking
Yeah, for
about it.
sure. On top, yeah, off top, and then it's a way to be able to, you know, uh, just help keep people on a just help keep the family on a level playing field. I just talked about or spoke on how, you know, somebody might get evicted here or somebody might lose something here. Grandma's house, for most of us was always a base where you can come back here and get right.
Yeah,
In our family, that's a lot of times that's how it was going. So it's
yeah.
like, why lose that? Now it's gonna be harder on the people that's coming after you. They don't have no base.
Nah, it has to start all the way over again.
Start all the way over again. Now we're waiting on the next person. And now if you might have somebody over here that they might have They might have be a homeowner, but everybody can't come there.
Because
You know what I'm
that
saying? Like
that
it
person
don't
ain't
work
that
the same.
that person ain't the matriarch of the family.
Exactly.
They're not tied to everybody. You know what I'm saying? So it's different with that person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, right.
Grams is tied to everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Granddad is tied to everybody. But
Exactly.
your cousin or your aunt, that's a whole different dynamic.
Right. They a lot of times they don't even want you over there for real. So it's like you sure ain't coming up. You ain't you definitely not coming through with your with the chick with the kids and y'all need a few weeks or a few months to get right. That ain't look, that's the odds of that happening is slim to none.
Yeah, yeah, because they creating their own matriarch and patriarch
Right.
because
And
they don't have a choice because of the situation with Grams, the situation with Granddad. So everybody is
yeah,
forced to fend for themselves and create their own situation when really you
yeah.
already had one in place.
Already had one, man. That's one of the things I get so frustrated about. Is like, but at the same time, it's like, okay, well, I do understand that, man. Look, we ain't had like they didn't know a lot of this stuff that that we starting to learn now, or just the information that's available now. They didn't know none of that stuff. And then once you get older, a lot of things with older people, they don't, they stop trying to really learn new stuff, new information. Like the older generation is really not trying to hear nothing new. Like they
Mm-mm.
got something that's been working or they've been doing this for a while and they're gonna continue on with this. And they're not really trying to get into, it's hard to get them to figure out how to program a remote.
Yeah,
Like they just not so they didn't have a lot of that information to be able to be like, okay, well look, let's all come together and make sure that we don't lose this because it could help, our kids and our grandkids, and it could help keep a base or help keep us, it's an asset as opposed to just losing it and having nothing, and now everybody really on their own for real.
yeah, and people got to stop treating it like a liability because it's really an asset. It's something that should help. You know what I'm saying? But it could create wealth for you, or it could be a problem for you. However you want to look at it, but at the end of the day, it's supposed to be an asset. You know what I'm saying? So you should be able to work together and continuously build upon it. You know what I'm saying? So obviously that's a couple ways, the life insurance and keeping Big Mama's home um in the family you know what I'm saying, to make money for the family off of and continue to grow it. Um we haven't touched on stocks though.
Yeah, that's to me, hey, that's the most important. That's the most important piece. I mean, real estate, or having assets, having a home, having life insurance, all that is like, those are very important things. But at the end of the day, you know, investing, period, investing in stocks is gonna be the most important. I feel like it's gonna be the most important tool that we could use to be able to grow wealth, period. Because,
Mhm.
this is America. And in America, you have these big companies, these big corporations that are growing exponentially over time. And if we don't invest in these things that are gonna happen regardless,
Yeah.
then you're never gonna be able to close the wealth gap without investing in these companies, these big companies, these great companies, that occupy so much of the financial real estate in the country that we live in.
Yeah, yeah. If you're not making yourself savvy, with the stock market, with trading in general, and, with cryptocurrency and these things, you're basically getting left behind, and you leaving money on the table. At the end of the day, you're losing. Everybody should be continuously educating themselves as they move on in life. Your education does not stop when you stop going to school. You know what I mean? Honestly, based on the shit, sorry to curse, but based on the stuff that we were taught in school, really, your education kind of starts after school. After all that stuff is over. Because a lot of that
No
stuff that
doubt.
we learned, we don't use that stuff. You know what I'm saying? They didn't give us the tools on financial freedom at all. And you would think that really they didn't want to. Based on looking back, it's almost like it was a plan. It was planned for it to not be like that. You know what I'm saying? When really these kids, they should be getting taught about financial literacy as early, to me, as early as middle school. You know what I'm saying? They should be able to go to class and be taught about the stock market in school, not have to take a course in college, or not have to teach themselves or look at, you know what I'm saying, YouTube courses. This stuff should be in the classroom. And I don't understand why it's not and why it wasn't. But we're gonna educate ourselves, and we're gonna push the line on it, because it's important. Like you said, it's the most important. Everybody should be trading. If you use a product, if you have an Apple device, if you wear Nikes, if you drive a Tesla, whatever the case may be, if you shop at Target, you should have stock in these companies. It's no excuse on why you shouldn't.
Yeah, that's true, man. Look, the fact I learned a lot from what we both learned a lot from watching Market Mondays, or the Wall Street
Yeah,
Trapper, and all
yeah.
these people that
Shout out,
are,
shout out to EYL.
for sure, for sure. You know what I'm saying? Like, these type of things have turned the light on for us. But like, man, listen, it's not even a lot of times, that deep. If you think about it in terms of, okay, well, when when the iPhone first came out, I'm pretty sure Apple stock was here. But now Apple has every product under the sun that you can think of. Everybody that you know has an iPhone.
Right,
Like, they've turned this thing into something completely different than it was when they released the first iPhone,
right.
right? Amazon, the same way. Like, Amazon started off as something that you just kind of was like ordering a couple of things off of. Now, Amazon is something that we use daily.
Yeah.
And
Amazon
so
is always dropping stuff off at the crib. It never stops.
every year, most people get Amazon deliveries every day, or at least weekly. Like, these are things that, if we would have had an opportunity, or we would have had the know how to put money into, then the situation looks completely different if you hold those things for the now, or if you
Mhm.
are a owner of those assets now, your life is completely different than it was then.
Right. And
You know,
correct me if I'm wrong, Apple is the number one tech stock, right now.
right? Well, yeah, I believe Apple is the number one company right now, as far as like
Okay.
you know, I think market cap, I believe so.
Okay.
But
So
you got a lot
that
of companies who are closing in on that too. But
just to make it plain, that stock is continuing to grow, right? And it's gonna keep growing at right
right,
at some
over
type of
time,
rate.
look, go
So
ahead. What you say?
it's gonna keep growing at some type of rate. You know what I'm saying? And it's been proven to keep growing, right?
Right,
So
absolutely.
So we got to get out of the habit of saying, okay, well, I missed out on that. I missed out. It's gonna keep growing. You just have to invest in it and
Right,
leave it
man.
there.
Yeah, man. I think when a lot of times when we get to looking at those numbers of the stock price, and it's like it might be at a high, or it might be somewhere, it might be trending towards a high, and it's like we'll look at it and be like, well, it's too that costs too much.
Yeah,
Or, what I'm saying, I wouldn't pay this for that. Like, you don't really see the value in buying something that you don't, buying something that's technically, I guess, expensive, depending on what stock you're talking about. But like, let's say, like an Apple stock. If you purchase an Apple stock right now, it's looking at it like, okay, why, I just spent 130, 140, $150 on one share. It's like, what's the point? But the point is that if you consistently did that over the next 10 to 15 years, you now have wealth in those stocks. You know what I'm
absolutely.
saying? Those stocks are not staying. These companies are not staying put. With
Mm-mm.
the good companies are growing over time. And that's what a lot of us, if we just was able to just kind of like have somebody show us what the charts look like, you know, the charts will tell you so much about just a visual on where it was to where it is now.
Yeah, yeah, and that's true. They continuing to grow, and at some point, people gotta wake up and realize that you kind of just getting left behind. I hate to put it like that, but you're not doing yourself a favor. Um, you know what I'm saying? You certainly not growing wealth at all if you're deciding that you're not going to invest. You missing the boat.
Yeah, there's no doubt
You know,
about it, man. I mean, really, what you're doing is you're pretty much signing an agreement that says I'm gonna work for the rest of my life.
absolutely. And when you invest in these companies, man, yeah, I mean everything's a gamble. The stock is not going to always grow. Sometimes it might lose money, but over time, there's certain companies that have shown consistent profits at the end of each quarter. It's undeniable. You can look this stuff up, and that's where you put your money at. And a lot of I don't think you mentioned it, but you hold these stocks for a certain amount of time. At the end of the year, what do you get? You get dividends, right?
Yeah, yep.
Because you know what I'm saying, you're invested in the company at that point. And I know a lot of people might be afraid to invest because they just don't know. They don't know about it. Like you said, it's not a physical product. They can't touch it. You know what I'm saying? They can't put their hands on it, so they stay away from it. But we got to get out of that mindset. You feel me? um and I think, like you said, it's the most important thing is investing in the stock market. And there's different ways you can educate yourself on it. We're not financial experts, what I'm saying, but we listen to people who have proven to have expertise in these fields and giving us direction on how we should approach these things. So, you
Yeah,
have
man.
to do your research. And of course, throughout the course of this podcast, we're going to give different tools and, bring different people on who can help.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. Like hey, look, the education is the most important part. It's like if you on the gram all day and you haven't watched anything educational that could benefit you in any way, like you really should look at yourself and just say, man, damn, I really just wasted a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you really
You,
just
you have,
wasted a day.
and you're going to wake up tomorrow and you're going to go punch the clock and do the same thing over and over again and still end up in that same position.
Yeah, man. Well, lack of investing well, it's just that simple. Like you're signing a contract that says, "Hey, man, I'd rather just get every dollar physically with my hands and feet. I'd rather go and work for a dollar than have my money make money. And if you work for
Yeah.
every dollar that you get, you're gonna work for the rest of your life. And
Yeah.
I don't even like I don't need no numbers or no type of information to tell me that that's true because I've seen it time and time and time over time. You know what I'm saying? We've seen that play out 1,000 times.
Yeah, we have. And what they working till now? What is it? Is it 68, 60? What's the number?
Well, I think
70?
67 is the age of 60. It's either 67. I think
Yeah.
it's 67 for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, so you work your whole life and then you retire at 67 and then you live off a fixed income that you can barely afford to do anything with. And then you just do that until you die.
Yeah, man, it ain't it shit. It's not pretty, man. When you get to 67 and they send you $1,100 a month.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hey,
nah.
man, hey, that's
Nah, we not
that's not the
we not
way, man.
nah, that's not the life that we going to live. We not going for that. That's not going to work at
Nah, man,
all.
not at all.
Nah.
Not at all,
So,
man.
I know we gotta get out of here soon, but I know we talk about entrepreneurship a lot. And I want to get one thing straight because I think when we talk about entrepreneurship, a lot of people look at that like, okay, So you trying to say that we should be working a job, or if everybody got a business, who gonna work regular jobs? And that's not what we saying. Work your job, whatever your career is, do that. But take some of that income and invest it in something. So when that job, who really don't give a crap about you anyway, when they decide that, hey, you know what, your time is up here, you know what I mean, you got an investment on the side, or you got a rental property over here, you know what I'm saying, or you got another venture that you've been working on with somebody, or you got a couple stocks, you know what I'm saying, you've been working on things to increase your own self-value instead of just giving all your time away for a paycheck every bi-weekly pay period.
No, those are facts. It, listen, you don't have to be somebody who has their own business, right?
Nah,
That's just not it. Like everybody ain't built to for the a daily grind that it requires to build a business or sustain it, keep it going. Everybody ain't built for that. That's not everybody cup of tea. A lot of people would much rather go do a trade or a job, get paid, come home and do their thing. And like it's nothing wrong with that. Like at the end of the day, like I work a job, you work a job. Like this ain't nothing. We work jobs. Yeah, so that's
hmm,
not what it is. But at the end of the day, it's like, hey, if you work a job just like I work a job, then more often than not, the income or the pay from the job isn't enough.
not at
Like
all, bro.
it's not even enough to really get you where you want to go. So what do you do if you're gonna just like if you choose the workforce? Like I guess you could go to school and then try to, you know, uh, figure out a way to make more money and all that's cool. But you have to figure out a way to for your money to make money. Like that's the biggest key, or that's the biggest, you know, piece to it is that your money, the money that you do make, it has to grow. It can't if it doesn't grow, then
That's the key.
there's only one other thing that it can do. It's either growing or it's declining in value. So you're either
That's
making money or you're losing money.
that's the key.
So
That's the key. That's the key,
yeah,
man.
man.
I think we're gonna end it on that note. That's the key right there, bro.
Yeah, man. Look, let's yeah, as we continue to make more episodes, continue to do this thing and build upon these conversations, like just I just want to be able to. I hope that this platform is able to just get people, the average person, to be like, you know what, man, like let me just take it a little bit more serious because these issues are real issues. The wealth gap is a real issue. Like you know, it's really something that is a real problem in our community for sure. And like if we don't start just doing something about it, everybody is a leader in their own community or has the potential to be. So like we gotta get on it, man, because if not, like it's only gonna get worse.
It's only gonna get worse. Man, that's it, man. Make your money work for you, man. You know what I mean? Either you making it work for you or you losing, man. Signing
That's
off.
a fact.
Signing off, man. Thanks for tuning in. Inspire the youth. Pilot episode. Close the wealth gap. Y'all have a good one, man.
Peace.